Welcome to this presentation. Our case company is Sticks and Sushi. We have chosen this company because we think that it has a potential to go international. At the moment, they are already expanding to UK and have opened 5 restaurants at the location and are currently working on opening restaurants in Germany as well. The method they are currently using is the principle of near market. This means that they are selecting markets similar to home or geographically close. Sticks and Sushi's growth strategy is market development. They offer a unique concept of products, which are yakitori sticks and sushi, which are prepared in the trustable production environment of the open kitchens in their restaurants. The sushi trend is adapted by almost all countries in the world. Nowadays, people are already familiar with having sushi as a food preference. This means that it will be easier to expand to foreign markets compared to some years ago where this was not the case. To know the company better, we have conducted an internal analysis of Sticks and Sushi, where we have used the following models: 7 O's, Pestle, Porter's 5 Forces, RIN, and concluding with this SWOT. When looking at the internal part of the SWOT and the strengths, we will notice that Sticks and Sushi have a very strong brand and concept. It is well known in Denmark for its high quality, and most sushi lovers will have this restaurant as one of their favorites when it comes to quality. That being said, Sticks and Sushi are one of the most expensive sushi restaurants in Denmark, which of course is a weakness for sushi lovers with a shallow wallet. If we move our focus to the external part of the SWOT, we will find the opportunities section, where the ongoing enhanced focus on healthy eating in the world is creating opportunities. When looking at threats, we will find a change in the export law of raw materials, mainly fish, and a possible reduction of fishing quota in the countries that supply the raw materials. A ban on catching endangered species, such as the current one on yellowfin tuna, is a threat as well. To measure Sticks and Sushi's preparedness to go international, we have used the 9 strategic windows. In this model, we were able to see in which window Sticks and Sushi positions themselves. According to the 9 strategic windows, Sticks and Sushi will be placed as an 8 because they are adolescent, and due to the fact that they are already conducting their internationalization strategy on a micro level, but at the same time aiming to expand to different countries.
To find out which market is the most appropriate for opening a steak and sushi restaurant in a foreign country, we have used the funnel model to screen the different markets and countries, starting with the step 1 and 2. In this step, we are defining criteria which will help us to do the segmentation. These criteria we chose will cover the criteria of effective segmentations, which covers measurability, accessibility, profitability, and actionability. In the second step, we are developing the segments by using the criteria we have chosen. We started by estimating the total market divided into regions. From the region segmentation, we came up with European region as the region we will segment deeper. We ended up with 20 plus European countries, which we would like to go more in depth with. We screened them by using the criteria distance to the company origin. The screening from the 20 plus countries ended up showing 8 potential countries, which were interesting due to their highest score of the berry measurement.
As illustrated, we have created a business environmental risk index called the BERRY in order to figure out which of our selected countries we want to focus more on and at the same time eliminate countries which aren't suitable after all. This is the BERRY for Denmark. We have of course used the same criteria when conducting the BERRY for the foreign markets. We have created 8 criteria to evaluate the level of attractiveness on the given markets, which we have previously selected. As you can see, Sweden was our top scorer. Sweden is our closest neighbor of all, and a country/market where only a bridge and a comparable language separates us. The total score of Sweden is 4.5, and we have compared our competitive strength in regards to our closest competitor on the given market in Sweden, which in this case is the sushi restaurant Hattori Sushi Devil.
Concluding our previous fine grain screening and estimation, we have created a model that visualizes our last three candidates, dividing them into possible A, B, and C countries. Our only A country is Sweden. In this chart, we can see that both countries have similar characteristics. For the power distance, they both believe in independence, equal rights, accessible superiors that management facilitates and empowers. For the individualism, both countries are an individualist society. In individual societies, people are supposed to look after themselves and their direct family only. Masculinity. In this chart, Denmark and Sweden both are feminine society. In feminine countries, it is important to keep the life-work balance and you make sure that all are included. Uncertainty avoidance. Denmark scored 23 and Sweden scored 29. Both are low in this chart. That means that they are more relaxed attitude in which practice counts more than principles and defiance more the norm is more easily tolerated. Schedules are flexible, hard work is undertaken when necessary, but not for its own sake. Long-term orientation, both countries are normative. They are normative in their thinking. They exhibit great respect for tradition, a relatively small prosperity to save for the future, and a focus on achieving quick results. Indulgence. With high score in this area mean that Denmark and Sweden have indulgence culture. That means people in societies classified by a high score in indulgence generally exhibit a willingness to realize their impulses. We used Gasoline as tools to see the cross-culture business behavior within the two countries. Denmark and Sweden has similar culture either in social life or business life. Based on Gasteland, Denmark and Sweden have deal-focused business culture. It means people tend to value directness and going straight to business. Usually a person from a DF culture do not have time for lots of small talk in a business meeting. It is not necessary to know the person or company on a personal level to get business done. DF people tend to value straightforward and direct language. Both countries also have egalitarian culture, which means value egalitarian attitudes and smaller differences in status and power. An open door policy is common, and people tend not to be too concerned about other people's status and titles while doing business or simply just interacting. For the third dimension, the both countries have monochronic cultures. Punctuality is critical. Schedules are set in concrete. Agendas are fixed. And business meetings are rarely interrupted. Being late is considered rude and disrespectful. It can seem like the further north you get, the more punctual and monochronic the culture is. The last dimension, both countries are reserved society. It means reserved people tend to be more soft-spoken. They feel at ease with silence during a conversation to not overlap someone that is talking. Appreciate silence during a conversation. The stick and sushi use the waterfall approach or incremental basis approach. Using the waterfall approach because stick and sushi offer a product which has particularly high price or more expensive compared to the similar sushi product. Stick and sushi use this approach to enter a single market first to build experience in international operation in the chosen country, then subsequently entering other market one after another. Entry on an incremental basis, especially into small markets, may be advised to do considering the lack of experience of stick and sushi in entering foreign market and wish to age gradually. The entry mode we think the most suitable for Stick and Sushi international expansions is hierarchical mode, where they can completely owns and controls the foreign entry mode. Since Stick and Sushi wants greater influence and control over the local market to maintain their product ideology, it is natural to build their own companies in the foreign market. We chose the hierarchical mode or investment mode because some of factors above influencing the strategy of his company. The desired characteristic mode is to have control of substantial commitment of resources, which in this way increase internalization. Steak and sushi also have a product complexity with their sushi-tainable concept, which increase internalization. External factors such as small number of relevant export intermediaries who can supply their raw material also influence the entry mode decision. The size of the market also influence the decision of investment mode, giving Stick and Sushi to expand by building a wholly owned sales subsidiary or majority owned joint venture. In micro market segmentation, in the beginning we segmented the market by defining the three biggest cities in Sweden. We found Malmö, Stockholm, Gothenburg to start our micro segmentation. We ended up with Stockholm suitable for expansion. We continue to segment the market geographical, demographical, and psychographic, which give us Danderyd municipality as our target area to open the restaurant.
We want to open a new restaurant in Stockholm in Sweden. For this project, Sticks and Sushi need to invest 1.5 million. The investment includes 2 months rent, paint, decorator, business card, furniture, and kitchen materials. We have lined up 3 possible scenarios: worst case, proposal, and best case. We have estimated that an average person gets a 300 Danish crown bill when they're eating a station sushi. Furthermore, we have estimated how many 25 to 65 years old we aim to get into the restaurant for each of these scenarios. By doing that, we have been able to make a profit and loss statement and calculate the cash flow in order to find the internal rent for the business to see if it's beneficial. First, we have scenario worst case. In the worst case, where we aim for 5% of the 25 to 65 years old. If you look at the picture, you can see the internal rent is 13%, which means it's bigger than the calculation rent on 10%. Then we can say the investment is beneficial. Next, we have proposal. In the proposal, where we aim for 7% of the 25 to 65 years old, the internal rent is 22% and also bigger than the calculation rent on 10%. So the proposal is beneficial as well. At last, we have the best case, where we aim for 9% of the 25 to 65 years old. The internal rate is 30% and is also bigger than the calculation rate of 10%, and the investment is highly beneficial. All our scenarios are thereby beneficial, but we would like for the proposal or best case to be a reality, since that is where the highest internal rate is. For our investment, we need to loan 2 million Danish crown in order to cover our expensive and unexpected costs. If we look at the different loan types, we can see that the effective interest rate is 90.8% for the annuity loan, 14% for the serial loan, and 7.9% for the standing loan. We can see that the standing loan have the lowest effective interest rate, and this means that the standing loan is the cheapest loan for Sticks and Sushi, since the annual cost of the loan is only 7.9%. In the standing loan, the entire principal amount gets repaid at the end of the period. This will not always be preferable, but in this case we will use it because it's the cheapest. Next we have proposal. In the proposal where we aim for 7% of the 25 to 65 years old, the internal rent is 22% and also bigger than the calculation rent on 10%. So the proposal is beneficial as well. At last we have the best case where we aim for 9% of the 25 to 65 years old. The internal rate is 30% and is also bigger than the calculation rate of 10%, and the investment is highly beneficial. All our scenarios are thereby beneficial, but we would like for the proposal or best case to be a reality, since that is where the highest internal rate is. For our investment, we need to loan 2 million Danish crown in order to cover our expensive and unexpected costs. If we look at the different loan types, we can see that the effective interest rate is 90.8% for the annuity loan, 14% for the serial loan, and 7.9% for the standing loan. We can see that the standing loan have the lowest effective interest rate, and this means that the standing loan is the cheapest loan for Stix and Sushi, since the annual cost of the loan is only 7.9%. In the standing loan, the entire principal amount gets repaid at the end of the period. This will not always be preferable, but in this case we will use it because it's the cheapest.